Well, good afternoon. Well, good. There's somebody awake. Good afternoon. You know, this is MPAC. You know, this is the quiet studio. We need to make some noise here. For those of you who are not part of the Rensselaer community, welcome to Rensselaer. I'm John Kolb, the Vice President of Information Technology and Services and CIO here at Rensselaer. And today I have the privilege and pleasure of introducing a distinguished group of technology leaders that have, in different ways, contributed to Watson and the partnership between Rensselaer and IBM. Many of you watched with great interest Jeopardy! The IBM Challenge almost 2 years ago, and many of you in this building. Today we hear about a continuing collaboration between Rensselaer and IBM to make this technology available to our researchers and future graduates. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to do today is show a short video to introduce this subject.
IBM chose Rensselaer as the first institution to work with Watson to advance the technology because Rensselaer has an excellent reputation in both cognitive science and computer science.
There is something about the ethos of RPI. It's an absolute no-holds-barred, can-do attitude.
If you look at the Watson team, most of its core members are from RPI. And most of these members were trained by the professors at RPI, some of these philosophers and logicians.
IBM and Rensselaer have an excellent history of working together, superior collaboration.
One of the things I really enjoy seeing are not only people with great ideas, but people that want to really bring those ideas to fruition. And I think you see that in both organizations.
We together can advance the capabilities of Watson's into fields that we can just begin to imagine now.
What industry needs is talent and human capital. People who are innovators, people who are idea generators, people who invent, who discover. And Rensselaer produces some of the best people in the world.
I would say when it comes to science and engineering research, Rensselaer is one of the most open-minded universities.
The students at RPI pull us into thinking much more broadly. They don't know what, quote, is impossible, and therefore they're willing to tackle those things and often find new and different things that we can do that the traditional fields wouldn't have thought of as the right way to go.
I think if I could pick one area where students and faculty need to be well-versed, need to see the future coming and help chart it, it would be artificial intelligence.
Watson really showed that a computer can start interacting in this modern technology and web age at the level that people expect, where they can interact with it, they can talk to it eventually, they can get answers to questions, that the human and the computer together will be able to do things that neither of them could do alone.
Cognitive computing is going to affect many different industries. Healthcare is an obvious one because there's massive amounts of data that are difficult to deal with.
What we're seeing more and more is the ability for textual sources that we're so used to as humans bringing together on the web. The computer now can understand and process more and more of that. So I think that IBM and RPI together really have the opportunity to explore new ideas in the lab and in their research labs and then bring them into a product like Watson that can bring them out to use in application developers, doctors' offices, and many, many other things throughout the world.
Institutions like Rensselaer are going to be key in this third era of computing, so we're very excited to be working with Rensselaer.
Well, we're just thrilled to be getting it. We're well positioned with the faculty we have, with the constellations we've hired, with the kind of students we have. Having really strong research universities are key to regional innovation and growth, but importantly for the country as a whole.
Thanks. That was produced here locally and a lot of fun to put that together. With this collaboration between Rensselaer and IBM and the Watson technologies, to steal a little bit of the PR that IBM uses, this part of the planet just became a little bit smarter. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker this afternoon, the Honorable Shirley Ann Jackson, who's president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Dr. Jackson has held senior leadership positions in government, sorry, this goes on a little bit, industry, research, and the Academy. Her research and policy focus includes energy security and the national capacity for innovation, including addressing the, quote, quiet crisis, unquote, of looming gaps in science, technology, and engineering workforce, and support for basic research for our country. Dr. Jackson serves on the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, PCAST, appointed by President Obama in 2009. She is co-chair of the President's Innovation and Technology Advisory Committee, PTAC, which is part of PCAST. President of Rensselaer since 1999, she has led an extraordinary transformation of the Institute with an ambitious strategic effort known as the Rensselaer Plan. Under her leadership, the Institute has been positioned for a day just like today, when because of our stellar faculty, students, and facilities, and our commitment to interdisciplinary research and our focus on creating what is next, Rensselaer is the choice for Watson to come learn and grow. Please join me in welcoming the 18th President of Rensselaer, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Thank you, John. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to extend a very warm Rensselaer welcome to all of you on this noteworthy occasion, because today indeed is a memorable day. Now, as you heard from John Kolb, the road to this event began almost 2 years ago when we at Rensselaer and millions around the nation sat spellbound watching a new IBM computer named Watson. You should ask John Kelly in case you've forgotten where the name came from. And we watched Watson compete against the two all-time human Jeopardy champions in an unprecedented, and some might say risky, 3-night contest. Now, after years of hard work by talented IBM scientists and researchers, led by several who graduated from Rensselaer, like Chris Welty, IBM had begun searching for a way to demonstrate in a dramatic way how this new system could work. They wanted virtually everyone, from sophisticated computer scientists to lay observers, to appreciate the cognitive computing ability of Watson. The process eventually led them to the producers of Jeopardy and to the development of the internationally broadcast contest that would challenge a computer system in a fashion never before attempted. Now, IBM, you might recall, it was not new to such challenges, because this was the company, this is the company, and these were the people whose predecessors had staged the epic chess match between the Deep Blue computer and the world champion Garry Kasparov in 1997. The 3 nights of Jeopardy in February 2011 drew thousands of observers to watch the broadcast here at Rensselaer as it happened, and to hear from some of our own faculty experts. Now, we all know what happened. Watson more than proved its mettle against the two best Jeopardy minds, human minds, in the world. Now, as we heard human Jeopardy champion Ken Jennings say, "I, for one," and this is a quote, "welcome our new computer overlords." That is what he said. As we heard that, most of us were filled with ideas about the possibilities for such a computer and what it could do with its vast natural language understanding and cognitive capabilities. Perhaps our very own Dr. Jim Hendler, head of our computer science department, senior tetherless world constellation professor, and a renowned expert in the field of web science, summed it up best when he was quoted in an article by the Associated Press the day of Watson's victory, and he said, and it's a paraphrase of what he said on the film, "A human working with Watson can get a better answer. Using what humans are good at and what Watson is good at together, we can build systems that solve problems that neither of us can solve alone." Since that historic event, our friends and partners at IBM have been exploring where Watson could go and what it could do. Most recently, IBM has put Watson to work, as you'll hear, I'm sure, from John Kelly, in the field of healthcare, where it has many possible uses in helping doctors to diagnose disease. In addition to that effort, IBM is exploring what Watson could do to further research and education on college and university campuses. Now, of course, we are glad they did, because that is what has led to the events of today. And so we're very pleased to announce that IBM has decided that Rensselaer will be the first university to receive a Watson computing system. It will afford our faculty and students opportunities to find new uses for Watson and to deepen the cognitive capabilities of the system. The arrival of the Watson system will enable new pioneering research at Rensselaer, to answer basic scientific questions and to address grand challenges where science and engineering meet society. Now, the firsthand experience of working with Watson will help to better position Rensselaer students, who already are brilliant, as future leaders in the areas of big data, data analytics, and cognitive computing. This very generous decision by IBM is part of the company's shared university research award to Rensselaer. Under the terms of the award, IBM will provide Rensselaer with Watson hardware, software, and support services. Once Watson is up and running, multiple students and faculty researchers, in fact up to 20, will have simultaneous access to Watson. We know that Watson will become a critical new resource to boost the world-class education and research taking place at Rensselaer in computer science, cognitive science, and many other disciplines involving cognitive computing. Along with faculty, researchers, and graduate students, undergraduate students will work directly with Watson as well. This experience will help to prepare our students for their future leadership in high-impact, high-value careers in the rapidly expanding fields related to computer science and in computational science and engineering, broadly writ. We are truly grateful to IBM for bringing Watson to us and for enabling us to put it to work on behalf of our faculty and students. We think it is a win-win. We have amazing talent here and specific capabilities that link to expanding the cognitive computing capabilities of Watson. As well, IBM is a visionary, globally leading, world-class company. And in fact, this week will receive from the President of the United States the National Medal of Technology for the work of an IBM team in conjunction with Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center that developed the laser that is the basis for LASIK eye surgery. The company also has been a world leader in patents issued, and it continued in the last year for over a decade, more patents than any other place. Importantly for Rensselaer, IBM always has been a visionary, supportive partner with us. We are pleased and humbled to be the first institution of higher education to put Watson to work in academia and to teach it some new things. We look forward to continuing to work together with IBM to make new breakthroughs on the frontiers of science and engineering and to find new ways to prepare our students for careers of leadership, impact, and distinction. I'm confident that together we will find new ways to harness the vast power of computation to help change the world. Now, from our partnership with IBM that launched our CCNI Supercomputing Center, the Computational Center for Nanotechnology Innovations, to the ongoing support for all that we do here, we cannot allow this moment to pass without turning to Dr. John E. Kelly III of IBM and his associates to express our warm and heartfelt gratitude for all that they have done and continue to do to make Rensselaer an even better place to study, learn, and discover. Let me pause as well to thank Mr. John E. Kolb, our Vice President for Information Services and Technology and Chief Information Officer, for his and his associates' hard work in helping to bring this capability to Rensselaer. But opportunities such as this do not happen on their own without a key partner and a champion to drive them. So now let me introduce the man who leads the whole enterprise that developed Watson and the man who made this event possible. Dr. John E. Kelly III is IBM's Senior Vice President and Director of Research. In this position, he directs the worldwide operations of IBM Research with over 3,000 technical employees at 9 laboratories in 7 countries around the world, and he helps to guide IBM's overall technical strategy. Dr. Kelly is well known for his work in stimulating innovation in information technology, both in the software, the middleware, as well as in the hardcore computational technologies that undergird it, and in the basic science and engineering that make all of those things possible, and well known for bringing those innovations then into the marketplace. Now, I'm very proud to note that John Kelly received his Master of Science degree in physics from Rensselaer in 1978. If I were being fair, I would tell you that he graduated from Union College, but I'm not so fair. And so I'll tell you that he also received his doctorate in materials engineering from Rensselaer 2 years after his master's degree. Dr. Kelly has been a close partner as we have developed an ever closer relationship between Rensselaer and IBM as we pursue common goals in the use of computational power. 2 years ago, we were very pleased to welcome John to the Rensselaer Board of Trustees, and I'm thrilled as president, where John serves with great thoughtfulness and distinction. Please welcome our very good friend, Dr. John E. Kelly III.
Well, good afternoon. This is a day to celebrate. I don't know if you truly realize how important this occasion is. Congratulations, President Jackson, on receiving the first university donation of an IBM Watson computer. Now, I think it's important on several levels. You know, first of all, IBM's in 170 countries around the world. We have relationships with literally every university in the world. I could be standing at any other university, any place in the world today, making this announcement. But we're here today for a number of reasons. First and foremost is the leadership of President Jackson, the leadership that established years ago, leadership in high-performance computing, partnering with IBM, and leadership in establishing an agenda, a research agenda in the field around cognitive computing, by and large, years before others even knew how to spell it. That's true leadership. Congratulations on taking the risk. As we thought about then, well, what is the best university to place this at? There were a number of factors, certainly the leadership, the outstanding faculty, the leadership of John Kolb and the IT organization, the get-it-done attitude that exists here at Rensselaer that frankly does not exist at many other universities around the world. But in the end, it really came down to the students. And as was referenced earlier, several of the key inventors and leaders on the team that developed Watson were graduates of RPI. I think that speaks volumes for the talent and what goes on here at RPI. What we're trying to do then is establish a path of technology for the future of Watson. So that's why we chose Rensselaer. Now, what is Watson? Let me put it in context for you. Watson is not just an evolution of computer technology, as many of the other technologies that we've partnered on before. Watson is revolutionary technology. In the 100 or so year history of computation, there's only fundamentally been 2 previous eras, and we're in the second era. The first era was an era of fundamentally mechanical calculation, mechanical computers. We ended that era, in fact, with vacuum tubes. But those computers were, by and large, mathematical calculators, addition, subtraction, multiplication. With the advent of the transistor in the 40s and 50s, we moved into the second era of computing, one where we weren't just mechanically calculating, but we were literally programming the computers to do tasks that we as humans had previously done. And by and large, that has been the last 50 or so years. It's the era of computing that we've all grown up in. And every computer, from the CCNI supercomputer to the computer that you carry in your pocket, is a programmable computer. We are now about to enter the third era of computing, which is dramatically different from what we've experienced before. And we in IBM have termed it the cognitive era of computing. And Watson is the first rendition of many, many systems that will come that are cognitive computers. Now, why is cognitive computing so important going forward? The world is awash in data. More data than human beings can possibly deal with. It's called big data, huge data, fast data, you name it. But there is more data than we can possibly deal with. In a year or two, there will be 10 to the 23rd bits of data in the world. The only thing that's sort of that order of magnitude is the number of stars in the universe. So we as humans are faced with a universe of data and no ability to get to it and understand it and analyze it with the current tools that we have. So as we in IBM and IBM Research looked at that future world, we decided we needed a new type of computer, a cognitive computer. A computer that could sift through vast amounts of unstructured, non-tabular data and make sense of it and extract information and insights out of it upon which we as humans could act. And so Watson is, again, the first of such a computer. It can sift through and understand, quote unquote, natural language, which is sort of the simplest form of unstructured data. Future generations of Watson will not only be faster, more energy efficient, but they will be able to tackle other forms of unstructured data, such as medical images or photographs. In fact, it's estimated of that 10 to the 23rd bits of data that I spoke about, that probably 80% of that will be unstructured data, non-tabular, non-text data. So we are hard at work in IBM Research looking at ways for future Watson systems to deal with those forms of unstructured data. Where will we then apply these? Well, as President Jackson mentioned, we've been hard at work for the past 2 years with a number of leading medical institutions around the world, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Cleveland Clinic, MD Anderson in Texas, putting Watson as it stands today to work and educating it, if you will, in the medical field. And I could spend hours just talking about the incredible breakthroughs that we've had with those leading medical institutions over the past 2 years. Put quite simply, the docs are blown away with what Watson can do, sifting through the vast amounts of medical information in very short periods of time, assisting them in diagnosing very, very difficult diseases. We're moving now into areas of discovery with Watson. So we're at the very, very beginning of the third era of computing. And remember I told you those previous eras lasted 50 years? So we're 2 years into a 50-year journey here. So as we in IBM sat back and said, well, we need help. This is not just a system, this is a journey. Who can help us do this? We looked around and said, Rensselaer is the perfect institution to do this. Not only did Rensselaer produce the students, the graduates that created Watson, but it's time for Watson, in a sense, to go back to school and learn the next phases of cognitive computing. So we are delighted to bring Watson to Rensselaer. We're delighted with this partnership, and I think that when we look back years and decades from now, this will be a transformational moment, not only in the relationship, taking it up another notch between Rensselaer and IBM, but this will be a very, very important step in the new era of cognitive computing. Congratulations again, President Jackson, Rensselaer staff, Rensselaer team, Rensselaer students. You now have something that no one else in the world has in a university system. Please put it to good use. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson and Dr. Kelly. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jim Hendler, who is chair of our Department of Computer Science and has a chair in the Tetherless World Senior Constellation at RPI. He has authored more than 200 technical papers in areas of artificial intelligence, the semantic web, agent-based computing, and web science. One of the early developers of the semantic web, he is the editor-in-chief emeritus of IEEE Intelligent Systems and is the first computer scientist to serve on the board of reviewing editors for science. In 2010, just to show you his diversity, he was chosen as one of the 20 most innovative professors in America by that really technical magazine, Playboy. Jim currently serves as the internet web expert for the US government, providing guidance to the data.gov project. Jim Hendler.
I'll never live that down. President Jackson, Dr. Kelly, Kellogg, colleagues, guests, and especially students, it's just a great pleasure to be here today to celebrate, as it were, the admission of Watson to RPI. You know, every student in our department has the potential to revolutionize computer science, but it's nice to get one who already has. Watson has really caused the researchers in my field of artificial intelligence to rethink some of our basic assumptions. This cognitive computing really is a breakthrough technology, and I think it's great to be here at RPI, where we'll be the first to get our hands on this amazing program. I think if you saw the video, you can see the theme I'm going to hit on, which is that in 1976, Joe Weizenbaum, a leading computer scientist, wrote a book called Computer Power and Human Reason, From Judgment to Calculation, in which he criticized the field of AI for trying to replace human creativity and thought with the power of computers. He suggested that humans and computers were inherently different, and that trying to get computers to think like humans was really an insurmountable task, if it was possible at all. I met Weizenbaum when I was actually an undergraduate, and his arguments changed not just how I, but many in our field thought about what artificial intelligence was about, to think of it as a teaming of human and computer, not as specifically trying to make just smarter and smarter computers in narrower and narrower areas. So Weizenbaum died in 2008, and he wasn't around to see Watson beat Ken and Brad a couple years back. If he was, I think he would have been stunned to see what the computer could do. But in playing with Watson since the game, I'm not the only one who's noticed, and many people have commented, that when you see the question and you see the few possible answers that Watson gives you, you often can tell right away which one is the right one, even occasionally when Watson didn't get it right. So while Watson gets more than I can get alone by a long shot, together, we as humans playing with a computer like Watson, the Jeopardy game, or any other field, can achieve things that neither of us can do alone. I think Weizenbaum would have not only pointed that out, but would have reminded us of something else, that Watson is powered by the documents of Wikipedia, by novels, by operas, by all of this data being produced by people doing things. So again, it's a way of harnessing our creativity as humans with a computer that's something different than a calculator, different than a search engine, something that really gives us a new way of thinking about computing. So from that perspective, what Watson ushers in is this era of cognitive computing where what we're looking at is a part of the future where we and the computers will be interacting in a different way, as partners, not as the computer being just a search engine or just the tool. So as the head of the computer science department, I can tell you that it's not just this machine that's incredible here at RPI, but it's also our students. From the freshmen to the PhD candidates, the innovations that our students produce can be amazing. A large percentage of our students get involved in research as undergraduates, and those of us who teach them are responsible for seeing that they are doing new and novel work. Here at RPI, we have a nearly 2-century-old tradition of giving our students access to the best technologies and tools that exist. I'm very proud today to be able to be part of this joint project with IBM that will let us continue that tradition. I don't know what Professor Weizenbaum would say if he was here with us today. I think he would be sure to stress the importance of the human brain in this partnership with any computer, even one this capable. But I think that amplifying the power of our students with the sheer power of Watson is going to allow us to do some amazing things. So I'm really excited to be in at the start of something that will let us, as your t-shirts all say, let us change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have Dr. Chris Welty, who received all 3 of his degrees at Rensselaer, culminating with his PhD in 1995. He also worked at Rensselaer leading the computer science laboratory. He is a research scientist at the IBM TJ Watson Research Center. He's a member of the algorithms team working on Watson. Previously, he taught computer science at Vassar College and accumulated over 14 years of teaching experience before moving to industrial research. Chris's principal area of research is knowledge representation, specifically ontologies and the semantic web, and he spends most of his time applying this technology to natural language questions, answering as a member of the Deep QA/Watson team, and in the past, software engineering. Dr. Welty.
You're going to have to give, I think, people like John Kelly and me a little license to say RPI. This was such a big part of our lives, this place, when we were here, and that's what it was called. And John, can you say Rensselaer?
I can.
Okay. I can't. It's like calling my sister changed her name when she got married. I still call her Welty. So anyway, I'm as an alumnus of RPI, I'm very proud to be here, and I'm very proud to repeat to you all that RPI is the first university to get a copy of Watson. And as an IBMer, I'm very proud to point out to you that the main reason we gave Watson to RPI is to sort of send Watson back to school. And don't expect me to pick you up late at night in downtown Troy because you've been out, Watson. It's just not going to happen. And we're really onto this idea of cognitive computing, and there's no question that companies like IBM that have been around for a long time really need the new wave of students coming in who've been exposed to these ideas, what cognitive computing is all about, and have had a chance to really get their hands dirty with a system like Watson. I'm here to represent the research team that built Watson, and you're probably wondering what we've been doing in the 2 years since Jeopardy. We've been focused mainly on trying to make Toronto a U.S. city. That's going pretty well. Really. In addition to that, we've really turned the research attention of the Watson team at the problem of understanding medical language. And as with every other field of science or humanities endeavor, the vast majority of the data, although there is a lot of data in databases, it's overwhelmed by the amount of data that's in text, that's in written notes and natural language. And understanding medical language turns out to be a very significant challenge, yet another magnitude of a challenge compared to understanding what we needed to understand to answer Jeopardy questions. So in addition to the goal we have of enabling education here and giving students exposure to cognitive computing in systems like Watson, we're also looking forward to collaboration at a research level with students involved in research programs at the graduate level, and also with Jim Hendler and Selmer Bringsjord and other professors here. And I hope that their experience with AI and knowledge representation and the semantic web will augment our expertise in natural language processing. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. It's very appropriate, given some of the remarks from other speakers, that our last speaker this afternoon is one of our students. Naveen Sundar G is an international Fulbright science and technology scholar, pursuing his PhD in computer science at Rensselaer in the Rensselaer Artificial Intelligence and Reasoning Lab, RAIR. His research focus on formal computer science and artificial intelligence and in syntax and consciousness continues work in building cognitively robust synthetic characters at the RAIR lab through formal modeling of self-consciousness in synthetic characters and the building of characters that are able to pass the mirror test for self-consciousness. I told Naveen earlier, without the red dot, and you'll have to ask him about that, on his forehead, I don't recognize him. He holds a dual degree in physics and electronics from the Birla Institute of Technology and Science in Pilani, in India. Naveen.
Thanks for the introduction. Speaking about Watson partnering with students, maybe one day we'll have this little phrase in our syllabus. You're allowed to work on your homeworks with your friends, such as Watson. So I was asked to give a student's perspective on working with the Watson system. So for me, as an AI student, Watson represents one of the few research problems that would make me jump out of the bed every morning at dawn, almost every day. So the reason is that Watson is very close to one of the big dreams of artificial intelligence and could actually be the forefather of a system which can be AI complete in the future. There are a lot of reasons which make me excited looking forward to working on Watson, as the system represents not only huge advances in AI, but also advances in other fields of computer science. I'll briefly mention just two of the big reasons. The first is that Watson signifies something which almost everybody believed to be impossible just a few years back. If you had asked any researcher in artificial intelligence just 1 year before Watson won the Jeopardy match whether it was possible for machines to beat humans, any sane researcher would have asserted that it was an impossible feat, and that it would remain so for at least a few more decades. So to achieve this impossible feat, the Watson team had to break lots of default assumptions in artificial intelligence and introduce new engineering ideas which actually raise quite a bit of new interesting philosophical questions about the nature of the mind. So Watson is not only the state of the art in artificial intelligence, but it's actually much more advanced than any other comparable AI system, while at the same time raising lots of big questions. To say that this is exciting would be a gross understatement. The second exciting reason is that working on Watson will open up lots of new research possibilities. Any non-trivial AI project requires setting up a lot of computational infrastructure, and usually this takes up quite a bit of time, and this ends up stalling a lot of big AI projects. For such complex and big AI projects, the Watson Deep QA system could not only provide a lot of the software infrastructure, but also provide advanced platforms which will let us tackle very challenging research questions that other competing research teams won't even imagine working on. So one such project that we are working on very recently will seek to answer queries which seem sort of sci-fi-ish in nature. These queries exhibit what we call a dynamic, arithmetic, and precise character, and will need much more advanced mathematical reasoning than what is available in existing AI systems. So, for example, even simple queries such as what was the volume of trade on the New York Stock Exchange on the day after the US presidential election results were out, or questions such as what was IBM's stock's Sharpe ratio in the last 60 days of trading, or questions that a meteorologist might ask, give me the maximum wind speed in Troy in the last year, but look only at the days in which it rained in Troy. Such questions are way beyond the capacity of any existing system out there. But with Watson and some of our research tools, we feel that we'll be able to answer these questions quite easily. So finally, I would like to thank IBM and RPI for making all of this possible. And I look forward to working on using Watson to answer lots of big questions. Thank you.
So to conclude, I'd like to ask a favor of the students before you leave. The speakers would love to get a picture, to paraphrase Dr. Kelly. This is a big moment, and you should know where you were on the 30th of January, 2013. So the speakers would like to have a picture with all the students that are in the room up here after I'm done speaking, if you'd be so kind to stay. And so you can explain and answer the clue of what happened on the 30th of January 2013. I think what you need to say is, what is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and IBM doing together today? Thank you.